Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. As the Premier League campaign comes closer to its conclusion, the Easter weekend brings the treat of the West Midlands derby as Aston Villa host Wolves at Villa Park. Aston Villa are currently battling out with Spurs for that fourth and final Champions League spot, with the only results of a win being enough for Villa to keep them ahead of the North London side. They escaped London with a point in their last game against West Ham after the Hammers had a goal disallowed deep into added on time in the second half. With once was a strong home record, is now rather weak at Villa Park as there is cracks starting to appear, as just 2 wins from their last 6 at home in the league at Villa Park has led to questions coming of Aston Villa's Champions League credentials. For Wolves, they suffered FA Cup heartbreak before the recent internationals as 2 Coventry goals in the 97th and the 100th minute of the second half saw a Wembley trip for Wolves taken away from them. But in the league under Gary O'Neill, it has been better than anyone could have expected. Currently sat in 10th, and they are 3 points off the European spots. The meeting at Molineux earlier on in this season saw a 1-1 draw, with Hwang giving Wolves the lead, but just 2 minutes later, Pau Torres for Villa secured the equaliser. This is just the 18th Premier League meeting between the two, with Aston Villa winning just once at home back in December 2003, whilst Wolves have won 3 times here at Villa Park in the Premier League since 1992. So in this West Midlands derby, will it be Villa or Wolves who take all 3 points? I'd say rather demoralising result in the way it happened for Aston Villa in terms of the Spurs game earlier on today. Tottenham took on Luton at 3 o'clock, and Luton took an early lead, and Wolves and Spurs were able to equalise just after them half time, and they scored a late winner through Heung-min Son. So that puts Tottenham 4th, but they are only above Aston Villa by 1 extra goal that they've scored. They are on the same goal difference, they are on the same points at the moment, but it's just 1 extra goal that Tottenham have scored, which has put them above Aston Villa. So that is after they have played the same amount of games as well. Once Aston Villa play today against Wolves, that will mean Spurs will once again have a game in hand on Aston Villa. So as it stands, before a ball is kicked here at Villa Park, it is all level between Spurs and Villa. They've played the same amount of games, they've got the same amount of points, they've got the same goal difference, but it's just that Spurs have scored 1 more goal than Aston Villa. That is putting them just above them at the moment in the top 4. But a draw or a win for Aston Villa would put them back into 4th spot, but it's a win that is needed, because the fact that Tottenham have a game in hand means that if Aston Villa aren't 3 points clear, then it is an opportunity for Tottenham, with not many games left, to go into that 4th spot a couple of points clear. So it's a big game. Every game's a big game in the Premier League, especially when you get around the March, April time, where things are starting to shape up and you can kind of see where teams could finish and where they might finish. And for Aston Villa, again, at the moment, just the top 4 spots of Champions League. That could turn to 5 spots for the Champions League, so 5th might be enough for next season if it goes to that new format of a big league table in the Champions League. But at the moment, it's just top 4 that is required for Champions League, and Aston Villa are just outside it at the moment, but they're only outside the Champions League spaces by 1 goal scored. So it's as tight as you can get, really. I think Tottenham probably would have expected to have expanded their goal difference by quite a bit against Luton today, but they clearly struggled against the newly promoted side and only won 2-1 and scraped past them. So I think that will definitely give Aston Villa some confidence, because Tottenham obviously came into their game against Luton off the back of a 3-0 away defeat to Fulham. So clearly both sides are struggling. It's a bit like Aston Villa. They're not doing that well at the moment. Aston Villa, which isn't great, like I say, at home, just 2 wins from their last 6, which have come against Forest and Burnley, teams you'd expect them to beat. And they were able to get on a bit of a run, Aston Villa. There were 3 wins in a row in the Premier League until they were beaten by Tottenham a couple of weeks ago, and then the draw away to West Ham, the game they played before the international break. So neither of the 2 teams are really wanting to take that 4th spot and make it their own. It seems like they're really battling and scrapping it out to try and make that fourth spot and get that Champions League football for next season for Aston Villa. They do also have European European games as well to have to focus on, and is a little bit of a, not a distraction, but it's just extra games to play. They're in the Conference League quarter-finals where they play Lille, their first leg coming up in a couple of weeks' time. But before that, Aston Villa have to play Manchester City at the Etihad on Wednesday, and then they've got Brentford next week at home in the league. So some big games coming up for Aston Villa before they refocus on their European campaign in the Conference League. For Wolves, they did have FA Cup commitments until the last round in the quarter-finals, where it was a bit of a shock upset with Coventry of the Championship going to Molineux and beating them by 3-2. It was a crazy FA Cup tie. The first goal was scored in the 53rd minute by Ellis Sims, but the rest of the goals came from the 80th minute onwards. Hugo Bueno, Aït-Nouri equalised for Wolves, and Hugo Bueno got what seemed to have been the winner in the 88th minute to make it 2-1, but somehow, in some way, Coventry were able to get 2 goals in added on time to win. So for Wolves, it's just focusing on the Premier League, try to finish as high as possible. They can finish in the European spots. They are only 3 points behind West Ham with 2 games in hand for those European spots. So it's definitely a realistic ambition at this minute in time for Wolves to aim for that top 7. It's not off the cards for sure. They do need to get the results necessary and required, but there's no reason why they can't at the moment. They're having a fantastic season currently under Gary O'Neill. But we'll both go through both sides now. We'll start with the Aston Villa team, and they make 2 changes from that last league lineup against West Ham 2 weeks ago, and it is Emi Martinez, the captain, in goal, still waiting for his 50th Premier League clean sheet of his career. A back four, Ezri Konsa, who made his England debuts back in the last week against Brazil and Belgium. Left back is Alex Moreno, and 2 centre-halves of Diego Carlos and Pau Torres, 2 former La Liga centre-backs. A midfield 4 on the right is going to be Leon Bailey. On the left is new signing in January, Morgan Rogers, and 2 central midfielders of Yuri Tielemans, who's currently covering for the injured Boubacar Kamara, and the Brazilian Douglas Luiz, who did also play twice for Brazil in the 2 international games they played, including one against England. And up front, 2 strikers of Moussa Diaby, who has not started any of the last 7 games in the league, so back in the starting 11 for this one. He's only got 1 goal in the league in his last 19 games, Diaby. That came all the way in late October to Burnley, and alongside him is going to be Ollie Watkins, who was featured in every Premier League game so far this season for Aston Villa, scoring 16 goals and assisting 10 times. It's a fantastic season currently for Ollie Watkins. He's just scored once, though, in his previous 9 against Wolves in his career. And for Wolves, it is Jose Sarr in goal, making his 100th Premier League appearance. A back 3 of captain Max Kilman. Alongside him is Santiago Bueno and Totti Gomez, who scored his only Premier League goal last season against Aston Villa in a 1-0 win back in May. And a 5 along the midfield at right wing back is going to be Nelson Semedo. On the left is Ryan Aït-Nouri, making his 90th Premier League appearance. And then 3 central midfielders of Mario Lemina, João Gomez, and former Manchester City midfielder Tommy Doyle. And then 2 up front, it looks like it is Pablo Sarabia, feeding in a little bit of experience at 31 years of age. And then a first start for Leon Chiwome, number 84. He turned 18 in January. He's making just his 2nd ever Wolves appearance. It's his 1st ever start. His first appearance for the club came in that FA Cup quarter-final against Coventry, where he was substituted on in the 60th minute. But due to a scary amount of attacking injuries for Wolves, it is meaning they're having to go and rely on youth in their starting 11, and Leon Chiwome makes his 1st ever Wolves start at the age of 18. He did score 1 goal for England's under-18s in the recent international break, scoring against the Netherlands. So he has got a bit of confidence making his under-18s England debut and scoring as well within that week. He didn't score on his debut; he scored in his on his other appearance for England. He's got 2 under-18 appearances for England and scored in the 2nd one against the Netherlands off the bench. So it's a big night for Leon Chiwome, as Gary O'Neill has got no one else to put in there. He has to go for youth. Mateus Cunha's still out. He was looking like he may have been able to return for today's game, but he's not made it in time. They were also missing Hwang Hee-chan, who's still out, and Pedro Neto, and Jan Rick Bellegarde, who can usually do a job up there as well. So it's not like Gary O'Neill's just giving him an opportunity. He's almost having to force his way into giving him an opportunity for the 18-year-old. It'll be Wolves to kick us off, kicking right to left. Aston Villa left to right here, as it is a team aiming for Champions League, and it's a team aiming just for any European spot they can take, as Aston Villa take on Wolves here. And it is Aston Villa on the ball with their right back, Ezri Konsa, who made his England debut last week in the international break against Brazil, and then started against Belgium. Both of those appearances were at right back, and that's where he'll play today for Aston Villa for the injured Matty Cash, as Moussa Diaby's on the ball in a central area, goes back here to Louise and out to the left towards Rodgers, cut out by Doyle midway side his own half as he just drifts himself out towards the right hand side here for Wolves, forced to go back towards his own goal here to Semedo, who's also facing his own goal, tries to turn and clear. He's got Moreno chasing him down. He plays the ball forward to João Gomez, who's tackled from behind fairly by Diaby. Loose ball drops here to Moreno, who charges down the left hand side, crosses it into the 18-yard box. He goes all the way through, avoids all the shirts there in claret and blue and in the orange of Wolves, and it's the away team in possession on the edge of the 18-yard box here with Tommy Doyle, who had Watkins chasing him from behind, but he was able to shift it on to Santiago Bueno, and Wolves can build out here on the far side with Semedo, find his way into the Aston Villa half, having to go backwards here to Doyle on halfway, who uses his body well to keep away from the press of Watkins, and it is Wolves to have a little bit of time here on the ball with their number 24 of Totti Gomez, who signed a new contract last month at Wolves, extending his stay at the club till 2029 as a diagonal ball in behind for Semedo. Is found the Portuguese wing back, and Sarabia will cross the ball in at the near post towards Chiuome, but it's an easy catch for the Aston Villa captain of Emi Martinez. Decent ball in behind there by Kilman to find Semedo on the byline, who was able to work the crossing but couldn't quite find Leon Chiuome in the middle there as it went in towards the near post. And it's Ezri Konsa here on the near side, entering the Wolves' half, having to go backwards, has a shirt pull from Lamina, and it's a free kick for Wolves, taken quickly by Konsa, as he plays it to Yuri Tielemans, who scored twice in the international break for Belgium against England. It was his first goals for Belgium since November 2022. Scored twice at Wembley in the 2-2 draw. As Aston Villa try and attack, it's on the far side here with Watkins, who's dropped slightly deep for the ball and loses it to Doyle. Good tackle there from Wolves number 20 as he passes the ball backwards to the edge of the box to Santiago Bueno. And play's just going to be paused here as Sarabia has gone down, and it is the last player they need to go off here, Wolves. They are pretty much out of attacking options, hence why Leon Chiuome is having to start here today. They can't be losing Pablo Sarabia, who found his way back into the Spain setup. He made one appearance in the recent international break, the former PSG forward. As we're back underway, and it'll be Doyle to send this ball out to the right channel. Chiuome will chase it, and he will keep it in on the far side. He's got Pau Torres for company, keeps it away from the former Villarreal centre-back, and it's now with Tommy Doyle on the far side here. João Gomez now out to a right-wing position. It is Pablo Sarabia. He's got Rodgers in front of him. Has to go back here to Doyle, and then inside to his left to Bueno on halfway. And it's Wolves in possession with Totti Gomez at left centre-back. Bursts beyond Leon Bailey. Plays out to the right to Doyle. Keeps it away from Rodgers and flicks it out to the right wing here again to Sarabia, who's got the run here as Semedo. Finds him in the box. He pulls it across, and it's blocked at the near post by Pau Torres. Cleared, but comes off the chest of Sarabia. Controlled by Semedo, who twists and turns and ends up having the shot blocked. And it's out for a corner for Wolves on the far side. Positive start from the away side. Not fearing the Aston Villa team here, who are usually quite strong at Villa Park, but have faltered a little bit at home. Just 2 wins in the last 6 at Villa Park in the league. They've lost here 3 times all season in the Premier League against Man United, Newcastle and Spurs. So it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Sarabia into the near post. It's a header away from Watkins. Drops to the edge of the box to Doyle, who can hit them from afar, and it's not wide of that left-hand side of the goal. He scored a beauty this season away at Brentford in the FA Cup, which is his only goal of the season so far. Good header away from Watkins, but straight to Doyle, who let fly from around 22 yards out, aiming for that far corner, and it's just bending wide of the post. It's not the worst attempt in the world there by Tommy Doyle, who's had a confident start. Didn't feature in the fixture against Aston Villa at Molineux. Tommy Doyle was on the bench for that one, but he starts tonight in a midfield 3 of Lamina, and João Gomez. As Villa play out from the back edge of the box with Douglas Luiz. Goes to his right here to another Brazilian of Diego Carlos into the path of Konsa, who takes it beyond the halfway line. Konsa looking for the next pass, going forward here for Watkins, out to the right to Bailey, back inside here for Diaby. His advantage is played here and then it's pulled back as Diaby's ball was misplaced. As Watkins received it and played it out to the right to Bailey, Watkins was nudged over to the ground and the referee tried to play advantage, but there was nothing given. Bit of a late one there by Kilman, who has had conversations of him representing England, but still no call for him. But the referee for today, Paul Tierney, or is that someone else? I think we had a ref change there. That looks like Simon Hooper to me. I know both Simon Hooper and Paul Tierney are both bald, but I can't quite tell who that is. Is it Paul Tierney? I think it is Paul Tierney. I thought it might have been Simon Hooper, but Paul Tierney is tonight's referee, 43 years of age, Premier League referee for almost 10 years now. Became a referee in Premier League ref in 2015. So it's the right foot of Luiz and the left foot of Bailey stood over this on the far side. Konsa's joined in the conversation to see how they're going to deliver this ball into the box. It's on this near side, about 30 yards out, quite far out to the wide area, so too far out and too tight of an angle really to have a shot on goal. As it'll be the left foot of Bailey to curl this into the box. It's headed up by Chiwome out towards the Wolves' left, where it can be dealt with by Aït-Nouri towards the corner flag. He's shielding the ball away from Bailey, finding Doyle in the 18-yard box, who clears it down the Wolves' left here for Sarabia. It's a perfect ball and a perfect touch, but it's a strong tackle by Luiz. Loose balls drops here to Chiwome, and Wolves are back in possession. On the edge of the 18-yard box as João Gomez goes back here to Santiago Bueno, and Wolves can bring it forward. Playing it out to the right to Semedo in the Aston Villa half. Rodgers is coming across to close him down. Just finds Lamina, returning it to Semedo. It's now with Doyle, 10 yards in front of the halfway line. And into the centre circle now we go with Max Kilman. Forward to Sarabia, who's just dropped into a deeper role to pick up the ball and fires it out to the left to Aït-Nouri. Midway side the Aston Villa half, driving on the inside, trying to keep himself away from the Jamaican of Leon Bailey. It's now with Totti Gomez. Across it goes to the centre back of Max Kilman. And then across to the right to Santiago Bueno, who's only started 3 of the last 11 Premier League games now for Wolves. But again, a lack of options is forcing Gary O'Neill to start his more squad players, as Lamina has not been able to keep that ball in on the byline, and it is a goal kick for Aston Villa. Wolves just played it down their right flank there, finding Lamina, who likes to burst forward from those central midfield positions and find himself more further forward. But that time he couldn't quite keep the ball in. And it's an Aston Villa goal kick with their goalkeeper now, Emi Martinez, being closed down by Chiwome. Goes forward to Tielemans, who turns beautifully away from Lamina. Finds it into the path now of Rodgers, who tries to find a ball through for Watkins. It's straight to the feet of Kilman for Wolves. And the away side can deal with it out to the far side to Sarabia. Ball into the left. Can't find João Gomez. Picked up by Douglas Luiz. Now Rodgers inside to Diaby. It's a brilliant ball. Moussa Diaby slotting it through for Watkins in the box. He takes the touch and he shoots. Save from Jose Sarr. And on the rebound, Douglas Luiz puts it in the back of the net. But the offside flag is up. I think the pass from Diaby to Watkins just played too late. I do think Watkins just went offside. As Diaby, so much space for him in a central area, and good from Totti Gomez to hold his line, let Watkins go through, and Ollie Watkins had just timed his run slightly late. Don't know if the run was late or the pass was late, but whichever it is, Wolves have caught Ollie Watkins out on an offside, and the goal won't stand. Really good though from Moussa Diaby to pick up those pockets of spaces in like the number 10 area of the pitch. And it was a good pass, just couldn't quite time the run right there, Ollie Watkins. As Wolves now try and bring it forward down the left-hand side. Aït-Nouri tackled illegally, and that'll be a free kick on halfway on this near side for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And they take it quickly. So it's already under 10 minutes in. That's gone very quickly. And it's 0-0. Both teams have looked positive, looked quite settled in the game. And it's Wolves who have had a goal disallowed already. Just Wolves allowing Moussa Diaby too much space in an advanced area there, and they were unpunished in the end through an offside, but they need to be careful there as Semedo's in a dangerous area, clipping it to the far post, can't be controlled by Sarabia, kept alive by Aït-Nouri, who backheels it through the legs of Bailey into the 18-yard box, but only finds Ezri Konsa, who then goes forward to Bailey, who takes on the Wolves' central midfield of João Gomez. Bailey wants to play the passes. Eight Nori's chasing him from behind. He eventually goes forward towards Rodgers. It's just behind him. And it's collected here by Santiago Bueno for Wolves, who goes beyond the halfway line and plays it forward to Sarabia. Back into Doyle, and Wolves just settle down on the ball hit on the halfway line as Aston Villa are almost through again there. But for Wolves, they haven't drawn any of their last 10 games in all competitions. They've either won them or they've lost them. Their last away win was over a month ago now against Tottenham Hotspur, but they have won 3 of their last 5 away games, Wolves, and they've all come in London to Spurs, Chelsea and Brentford. As a ball over the top here for Chiwome. He'll give chase to it, the 18-year-old. Gets there in the final third. Left wing position, very isolated here with Diego Carlos. Has to play the ball backwards here to 8 Nori, and the flag has remained down, so seems like he timed his run well there, Chiwome. It's now João Gomez, 25 yards from goal, on the Wolves' left. Finds Doyle, then back into Totti Gomez. It's now on the halfway line with Max Kilman, who goes across here to Santiago Bueno. He finds Semedo, the former Barcelona right wing back, on the ball. Midway side the Villa half, goes to his left to Sarabia, who wants the 1-2, and he replays it into the Spaniard. It's now Sarabia, keeping it away from Moreno. Finding Semedo again. It's now Doyle, who's come out to this right wing position. Has to play the ball back here to Bueno. Then across to Kilman, who's looking for a pass forward. Has to go to his left instead, 10 yards here to Totti Gomez. As it is Wolves dominating the early possession here at Villa Park. As Lamina has it, tries to go for an outside of the boot ball. In behind, it's straight to Emi Martinez on the 6-yard line. And Aston Villa are back in possession. But Wolves have won 3 of the last 6 against Aston Villa. One of them away from home in October 2021, but it's a bit of a miserable record for Aston Villa against Wolves. It's just 1 win for Aston Villa in the last 9. The win coming back in December 2020 away from home. It was a 1-0 win for an El Ghazi 94th minute penalty. December 2020. That's some time ago. Just winning 1 of the last 9. It's not a good record for Aston Villa, but on paper they are probably the better team currently. As Pau Torres goes long here. Watkins wants to get there. Sar's out of his box and wins a header. That is the most unorthodox goalkeeping I've ever seen, but it works so well. Pau Torres went long to the edge of the box, and Jose Sarr was fully aware that he was outside of his area, and he's turned into a centre-back and beat Watkins to the header and headed the ball away. That was confusing, but also pretty clever from Jose Sarr to head that ball away. And it's Wolves on the ball inside the Villa half on this far side. It's with Sarabia, who tries to go to Semedo first time. The Portuguese fullback is chasing it down. Is tackled by Moreno, throwing in the final third for Wolves. Not quite sure Gary O'Neill would have liked that goalkeeping. Probably nearly made him have a heart attack there. But Jose Sarr, the 31-year-old goalkeeper, making his 100th Premier League appearance tonight. He's kept 26 clean sheets, 4 of them this season, 2 of them away this season to Everton and Brighton. So it's a Wolves throw in here with Nelson Semedo to take. Throws it forward here to Sarabia and gets the return. Semedo's cross deflects off Rodgers, and it'll be the same again here for Wolves. Another throw-in, as it is the away team who are dominating the game so far, which is quite surprising. As they throw it towards João Gomez, who can't play the pass forward to Sarabia, misplaced. It goes through for a goal kick, as there is John McGinn in the stands alongside Tyrone Mings, who's recovering from an ACL injury. John McGinn is currently out, suspended after his red card in Aston Villa's last home game to Spurs. So it does mean John McGinn will miss the next game as well against Manchester City, but will return next weekend for the game against Brentford at home. But a big miss, John McGinn, in that pretty dismal 4-0 defeat against Spurs. It was 2-0 when he was sent off, and eventually it became 4 by the end of the game. As Wolves have it, centre circle. All Aston Villa plays behind the ball. It's with Totti Gomez at the left centre-back. Dribbling beyond Diaby, going forward to Lamina. Goes to the right here to Tommy Doyle, who's just on the edge of the centre circle here. Curls it out to the right into the space for Sarabia, who will keep it in towards the corner flag. Onto his left foot, lays it off here for Bueno, who will cross into the 18-yard box. It's flicked on by Tielemans. It falls to Eight Nori, and what a save from Emi Martinez. He's got to score. Eight Nori, who was on the score sheet in their 3-2 defeat to Coventry in the FA Cup in their last game. It's a ball in from Bueno, and as it was headed on by an Aston Villa player, I think it was Tielemans, It dropped right through to the far post to an unmarked Aït-Nouri, who in the 6-yard box tries to shoot back across goal as Martinez was diving the opposite way, but as Martinez was diving, he's just been able to hang out a left leg and divert that shot over the crossbar. It should be 1-0 to Wolves, but it's not for the heroic save there from Emi Martinez. That's an incredible save. Pau Torres was keeping Aït-Nouri onside. And that's a huge piece of goalkeeping by Emi Martinez to keep his side in it at the moment, as it is Wolves who are on top at the current state of the game. What an opportunity there for Ryan Aït-Nouri. He's only got the one league goal this season. That came against Fulham in their last Premier League game. Aït-Nouri currently has 2 goals in a row against Coventry and Fulham, both at Molineux. That's from the resulting corner. It'll be an in-swinger from Sarabia, who will glide it to the far post here. It's headed on by Kilman, and it's caught by Emi Martinez, who's looking for the counter-attack. Can he release it? He thought about it and then stopped, and then he's calmed it down. And it will be Aston Villa to just restart from the back, because it's not a great defensive record at the moment for Aston Villa. Just 2 clean sheets in the last 13 Premier League games. Definitely conceding more goals than they were at the beginning of the season. Aston Villa, as with Emi Martinez in the 18-yard box, goes out to right back Ezri Konsa, who's got loads of time and space to bring the ball forward here for Aston Villa. Slows it down and goes into Diego Carlos, who's midway inside zone half. He's got Chiwome in front of him, but Carlos can bring it forward and plays it to the left to Pau Torres. He's going to go over the top of the Wolves defence here, and Alex Moreno will chase it, the left back, but it's overhit, and it'll bounce out for a Wolves goal kick. It's not quite got going yet, Aston Villa, in this game, as Wolves are very settled in possession already. And an interesting stat I also found before the game, and I couldn't quite believe this, but Wolves are the only team in Europe's top 5 leagues not to score a league goal from outside the box. So, and I think, to be fair, that just sums up how Wolves play under O'Neill. I've watched them a few times, and I've watched them against lesser opposition, and the game that sticks in mind for me is when I commentated on them against Burnley, and it was very, not forced, but they didn't like shooting from afar, as it shows from that stat, not scoring a league goal from outside the box. They want to work it so they can have the best possible opportunity to score, even if that means having to keep the ball for a while and not having too many shots at goal. Those shots they do have, they want them to count, and they want them to be in good areas, and that's kind of how Wolves are playing at the moment. As Semedo crosses it into the box, it's an important header by Pau Torres, drops here to Tommy Doyle on the edge of the area, overhits a touch, tackle by Rodgers, who turns away from Sarabia and gets away from João Gomez. Brilliant run from Rodgers, who can try and shrug off Aït-Nouri, and he does. What a run this is from Rodgers, and then eventually pulled back by Sarabia with 2 hands on the shirt, and that'll be a yellow card there for Pablo Sarabia. What a run that is from Morgan Rodgers, who's just starting to collect a few more starts now for Aston Villa since joining in January from Middlesbrough. This is just his 7th Aston Villa appearance. It's his 2nd start in the Premier League. His first Premier League start came in the last game against West Ham, but he took on 4 or 5 Wolves players, and it had to take Pablo Sarabia to grab him with 2 hands to stop him from going any further. Brilliant running there from Morgan Rodgers, who's still searching for that first Aston Villa goal. So it'll be Douglas Luiz to clip this ball into the box, the left-hand side of the box, which is controlled by Moreno, and then crossed, comes off Lamina, loops into the box, headed away by Semedo, as far as the chest of Tielemans on the Aston Villa left, as he has it midway inside the Wolves half and goes across to the right here to Douglas Luiz, who's got time to pick out the pass. He tries to play it to the left, but that's wildly overhit and pretty inaccurate there from Douglas Luiz, and it'll be a throw-in for the away team. It's under 20 minutes in. Aston Villa have had a goal disallowed for an offside on Ollie Watkins, as his shot was saved and the rebound was put in by Douglas Luiz, but Watkins was offside from the ball through from Diaby. Wolves have also come close with Aït-Nouri a couple of minutes ago. Should have scored, really, but if it wasn't for a fantastic save from the Argentine goalkeeper of Emi Martinez. As Wolves have it on the far side. Chiwome holding it up on Pau Torres and playing it into Semedo, who can get away from Douglas Luiz. Plays it to the left to João Gomez. allowed to continue by the referee, but eventually pulled back as Douglas Luiz took the ball off João Gomes. There's a confidence to Wolves, even after that heartbreaking defeat to Coventry in the FA Cup in their last game before the international break. Their last league game was a 2-1 home win to Fulham. Goals from Aït-Nouri and an own goal from Kearney being enough before conceding in the 98th minute, but at that point the game was already gone. And they'd already collected all 3 points. But this free kick, about 50 yards from goal, just to the Wolves' right, so it'll be clipped in towards the far post there, where Lamina can control it just outside the area, keeps his balance, but then tackled by Konsa, and it'll be a throw in the final third for Wolves on this near side. Found Lamina well, and the touch wasn't bad, just lost his footing slightly, which allowed Konsa to put that strong challenge in to take the ball away from the Gabon international central midfielder. On the left wing position, it's João Gomes on the ball here, shielding it away from Bailey, right on the corner flag now. João Gomes still has it, taken off him by Leon Bailey. He's then tackled by João Gomes. It's a bit crowded here as Aït-Nouri takes it off Diaby, can't get away from Konsa, who wants to clear for Aston Villa, right on the corner flag as well. Clips it down the line, finds João Gomes of Wolves, so the pressure continues as it's Doyle on the edge of the box on his left foot, gets onto his right, plays it across to Sarabia, who shoots first time. It's weak, it's timid, and straight into the hands there of Emi Martinez. Not the greatest of strikes there by Pablo Sarabia, who's got 3 goals this season in the league, 2 in his last 7 against Sheffield United and Manchester United, both of them coming at Molineux. But Aston Villa just struggling here. I know they've had a disallowed goal, but other than that, they've not done too much in this game to really write home about. Pau Torres has it, goes across to Diego Carlos, midway inside the Aston Villa half. All Wolves players behind the balls. It goes forward into the centre circle here to Yuri Tielemans, and out to the right now to Leon Bailey. About 10 yards inside the Wolves half, has to go back here to Konsa. Now across to the left to Carlos, and then on once more to Pau Torres, who's got time on the ball here. The Aston Villa number 14. It's now with Alex Moreno, just inside the Wolves half, has to go backwards to the number 14 of Pau Torres, who scored one of his 2 league goals against Wolves in the reverse fixture at Molineux back in October. He's now started 5 of the last 6 Premier League games, Pau Torres. And Leon Bailey on the right wing, keeping it away from Aït-Nouri, looking to play the pass forward. He switches it out to the left instead, and it's perfect from Leon Bailey into Alex Moreno in the final third, running at Semedo, can't go around the outside of him. And as Semedo clears it, it deflects off Moreno, thrown for Wolves in the defensive third there. Such a good pass from Leon Bailey. It could not have been more perfectly weighted. The height was perfect, but unfortunately Alex Moreno could do little with it. It's a Wolves throw-in the end. So it's Wolves with the throw-in. In a bit of a congested area here, as they throw it to Doyle, who miscues the volley away, and it just dribbles its way through to Douglas Luiz, and Aston Villa win possession back in the Wolves half. It's where you really want to win possession, in the opposition half, and Wolves have done that on this occasion, but they're back with their back line here of Pau Torres, out to the far side to Douglas Luiz, who's got time to think about his next pass, and just replays it into Pau Torres. He's got Tielemans in front of him, goes to his right to Diego Carlos instead. Now a concert right back. Forward to Leon Bailey in the final third, 1-on-1 with Aït-Nouri. Goes back here to Konsa. It's now across to Diego Carlos. Wolves sat quite deep here, everyone behind the ball as Carlos goes over the top for Moreno. Over hit again. Goal kick for Wolves. They've tried that pass a few times now, looking for Alex Moreno getting forward from left back, but nothing's really materialised from the passes. And I think an even more interesting stat in this game, Unai Emery has never beaten Wolves in his managerial career. He's faced them 6 times, they've drawn twice, and he's lost 4 times. With Arsenal, he drew twice and lost once, and now with Aston Villa, it's the same record. They've drawn, they've lost once and drawn once, so it's not an amazing record to say the least for Unai Emery. against Wolves, a little bit of a bogey team, but when Unai Emery faced Wolves when he was at Arsenal, that was when they were under Nuno Espirito Santo, and Wolves were a very dangerous side back in the 2018-2019 season, where they were able to finish in a Europa League spot, get to the FA Cup semi-final as well. But, yeah, not an unwanted record for Unai Emery. He'll be definitely wanting to get the first win against Wolves in his managerial career. As of 25 minutes in already, this first half's flying by. Still goalless. Aston Villa have had one attempt on goal, and it was technically two, as Watkins' first shot was saved and then the rebound was put in by Luiz, but it was disallowed for offside, as Moreno, again forward from left back, balloons a cross over the crossbar, and that'll be a goal kick for Wolves. Just really struggling more at home now, Unai Emery and Aston Villa, and just struggling more in general. They've won one of their last 4 games, 5 wins in the last 10. And with a trip to the Etihad on Wednesday, they want to go into that game with a win and to try and build some confidence. I definitely think they missed Pau Torres when he missed 4 games from December to February, and now they're missing Boubacar Kamara. I feel like when they've had players out, Aston Villa, they've been the main cogs in their system, and when they've been out the team, it's visible and it makes the difference, and that's why results have just dropped off ever so slightly for Aston Villa. As Wolves have it on this near side with Tommy Doyle, who lets the ball roll out for a throw-in as it deflected off Morgan Rogers. And Ryan Aït-Nouri will take the throw. Just at the age of 22, Aït-Nouri made over 100 appearances now for Wolves. The number 3. As he throws it across to Sarabia. First time volleying behind, can't quite get it over the head of Diego Carlos. Nodded down by Diaby on halfway, can't find Bailey. Aït-Nouri shielding the ball away from the Jamaican, then going down over the challenge. That'll be a free kick for Wolves. Taken quickly, and Doyle goes across to the right centre-half here of Santiago Bueno. He will drive forward, goes over the halfway line, and Semedo made a running behind, can't find the pass to get it in behind for him, so he'll go to Sarabia instead, forward to the edge of the box to Chiwome, header won by Pau Torres instead. It's now with Watkins, who plays it out to the left to Moreno, who will go into the Wolves half and play it inside to the right, avoids Rogers, but it finds Diaby, then played through by Tielemans to Watkins. It's a beautiful pass. Watkins is in, and he hits the side netting. In the 6-yard box, the angle was tight. Watkins, once again, couldn't find the back of the net. It was a well-worked ball inside. It just went behind Rogers, but it found Diaby about 15 yards inside the Wolves half and then laid it off into the centre circle for Tielemans, who's a step ahead of the game. He already knew what pass to make as soon as it reached his right foot. He played it in between the space of Santiago Bueno and Kilman, straight to Watkins, who on his weaker left foot was running towards goal. Like I said, the angle was tight on his weaker left foot. He's gone to lift it over Sarr, but he's hit the side netting doing so. And it remains Aston Villa 0, Wolves 0. And for all the Wolves' possession, they've not had loads of chances. They've had one clear-cut one with Aït-Nouri, but for the lack of the ball that Aston Villa have had, they have had 2 quite big chances, scoring from one of them, but being disallowed for offside. And then that one there with Ollie Watkins, as that time he stayed onside, as Aston Villa won it back in a dangerous area. Edge of the box is Douglas Luiz, tackled by João Gomes fairly, according to the referee. It's now on the Wolves' right. Doyle goes long here for Chiwome. The 18-year-old will chase it. Martinez out of his box, and he lifts it to the left here to Pau Torres, who controls it, but then is tackled by Sarabia. And Wolves can't quite keep it in. Last touch off Sarabia, and that'll be an Aston Villa throwing on the far side. Got away with that one there. Bit of a risky pass by Martinez. Put quite a bit of height on it to find Pau Torres, but they survived it in the end, Aston Villa. As Aston Villa is currently on, with this point, they're on 57 points. For the entirety of last season, Aston Villa finished on 61, so they're definitely going to beat their season tally for last campaign. It's just by how many points will they beat it, as Watkins finds Moreno free in the box on the left-hand side, lifts it to the far post, no one's there for Aston Villa. Absolutely no one. And Aït-Nouri can deal with it with a pass forward to Lemina. Lays it back off Aït-Nouri, who's clipped from behind there by Tielemans. And in the left-back position, that will be a free kick for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Such a promising chance there, finding Moreno in quite a lot of space, as Tielemans will be booked, so a booking apiece in the game. Pablo Sarabia, yellow carded for Wolves, and now Tielemans for Aston Villa. finding Moreno in so much space, but the cross lacked the quality. Couldn't find a Wolves shirt, and Wolves just send the ball long towards halfway, headed forward by Tielemans away from Chiwome. It's now with Diego Carlos out to the right to the number 4 of Ezri Konsa, who made his 175th Aston Villa appearance in the last league game against West Ham in that 1-1 draw at the London Stadium, where they scored a equaliser through Zaniolo with 11 minutes of the 90 to play. It's got just under 15 minutes left of this first half. It's Aston Villa in the Wolves half with the ball on the far side with Pau Torres. All Wolves players currently behind the ball. As Torres goes into a central area to Tielemans. Back into Torres. Moreno's free on the left-hand side. Goes back though into Tielemans to his right. He's now in the centre circle with Carlos. Got loads of options on. Goes out to the right here to Konsa. Midway side the Wolves half. Tielemans forward for Luiz, who turns away from Sarabia but can't keep the ball away from Kilman. And it's Wolves now to try and get the ball forward if possible. It's out to the right wing back of Semedo. He's going to drive the ball forward. Gets beyond Rodgers. Pulled back though by the Aston Villa number 27. Nothing given as a foul. And that's a throw in on halfway for Aston Villa. Good tracking back there by Morgan Rodgers, which has definitely pleased Unai Emery. And that Zaniolo equaliser against West Ham in their last game was Unai Emery's 100th goal as Aston Villa manager in the Premier League. As Bailey takes it to the byline, slide tackle from Aït-Nouri, last touch off the Algerian wing-back. And that'll be a corner kick on the near side for Aston Villa. We're starting to grow into the game a little bit more now after the last 5 or so minutes. They're starting to look better and starting to have more of the ball compared to when Wolves were dominating the possession in the first 20 minutes. So it'll be a left-footed in-swinger, it looks like, from the Jamaican of Leon Bailey. Goes short here to Luiz, who's just in front of him. Then finds Bailey on the angle, who will cross it in. It's a header won by Kilman on the 6-yard line. It'll be Tielemans to get there, though. Midway side the Wolves half. He's got Lamina closing him down, but he'll put it back in the box here, Tielemans. It's actually back out to the right to Bailey, who will then put it into the box here. And it's flicked on, and it's a big save. Flicked on by Torres at the near post. Just too close to Sarr in the end. A save you'd expect him to make, and Wolves counter. João Gomes out to the left here to Sarabia. Into the final third here. He's got a bit of space to work with Sarabia. He's going to go for a crossfield pass towards Lamina. Finds him in the box. He volleys it. Deflects off Diaby into Tielemans, who chips the ball forward to Rodgers. And maybe the counter-attack will be countered here as Rodgers gets beyond Doyle. And away from Lamina. Rodgers just can't be stopped until he's tackled fairly from behind by João Gomes, clearly getting a contact on the ball. And it seems like Rodgers, once he gets going, he's very difficult to stop. That's the second run he's gone on where he's really showed his real raw ability. The former Manchester City youth product. As both teams have definitely showcased their patterns of play and their style of playing, the fact that they could definitely score. It's Bueno goes in behind for Semedo. He's onside here. Will he beat Moreno to it? He will. Semedo in the box right hand side. The angle's tight, but Moreno recovers really well. Big slide tackle, and the ball rolls towards the corner flag. It'll be kept in, though, here by Sarabia, as it was going for a throw-in. Sarabia goes back here to Doyle. Now João Gomes, who's drifted out to this far side. Back into Doyle, as he's been closed down there by Luiz. He's now in the centre circle with Kilman. 5-yard pass to his left to Totti Gomez. Got Aït-Nouri furthest wide. Gomez chops beyond Diaby and finds Doyle. Sarabia is in behind as he timed his run. Flag stays down for now. Sarabia puts the ball in. It comes off Carlos. Drops to Semedo, and then the flag goes up there on Sarabia, who doesn't believe he was offside. Looked like he may have just... I don't think he went late. I think Doyle's pass was just a late... Yeah, just off there, Sarabia. If Doyle could have just made that pass slightly earlier, then he would have been onside there. Definitely starting to become a more even game here at Villa Park. Torres coming close for Aston Villa just a moment ago from that Leon Bailey cross. The flick on saved by Jose Sarr. And Jose Sarr has never tasted defeat in this fixture. 3 wins, 0 defeats. 1 clean sheet, which came last season in the 1-0 win at Molineux. An early goal from Totti Gomez was the difference. In that one, there's Aston Villa win a free kick here, and they are not going to take it quickly. Douglas Luiz, the man brought down there by, I think, Santiago Bueno, the Uruguayan centre-back for Wolves. Carlos played it forward to Watkins, flicked it to Luiz, who was then, sandwiched is the exact word. He was pulled back by Chiuome. He had his ankles nibbled at by Sarabia and then ran into Bueno. So there's a few moments there where Luiz could have won a free kick, and he did. It's quite central, this free kick. Not much of an angle for it, and it's around 40 yards out. It's too far away for a shot here for the Brazilian midfielder. So I don't know how they're going to work an angle here, unless he's just going to go for the cross anyway. He's going to play across the far post. Bailey's free. Cut back, deflects off Doyle, and then Diaby smashes it home on the edge of the box into the top right corner. It's his first league goal since the 30th of December. He's had to wait a while for it, Moussa Diaby, but the goal comes 10 minutes before the break. It's really sloppy defending from Wolves from that free kick. Luiz sent it out to the left wing to Bailey, who'd peeled off on his own. And as the ball went to Bailey, it was a first time pull back across the box. It deflected off Doyle at the near post, and it fell to the edge of the area to Diaby, who, like Bailey, found himself on his own, latched onto it first time. It was just too much power for Jose Sarr. It wasn't directly into the top right corner, but that was hit with some power, which was enough to get the ball past Jose Sarr. And in this first half, as Aston Villa start to grow into the game, they've got the first goal. And it's Moussa Diaby with it. It's Aston Villa 1, Wolves 0. Moussa Diaby with his first goal in the league since late December against Burnley. And that left-footed shot from the edge of the box was just too much for Jose Sarr. Just so many areas from that goal where it's just poor from Wolves. Like I say, Bailey shouldn't have been on his own in the left wing position from the ball originally. It's played from the free kick. The clearance wasn't great from Doyle, but Diaby shouldn't have been allowed to just run onto that on his own without being closed down in any way. Just overall poor defending from Wolves. And for a decent first half they've had, they find themselves behind. Could have definitely had the lead themselves through Nori, who gives it away in the midfield. Midway side zone half. Luiz goes for an early cross to the far post. It's caught in the 6-yard box by Jose Sarr. Nowhere near Ollie Watkins in the end there. Poor delivery by Douglas Luiz. As Aston Villa have got a lead that they will definitely take. Like I say, this home form for Aston Villa was so strong. They won their first 8 Premier League games in a row until a 2-2 draw at Sheffield United on the 22nd of December. And then they've faltered a little bit since. But it's usually a hard place to come to, and Wolves will be kicking themselves that they're behind. Semedo 1-2 on halfway with Sarabia, can't quite latch onto the final pass, cut out by Moreno, and he goes back to Emi Martinez in the 18-yard box, and it's Aston Villa who are on the ball, and they're the team who lead. It's a brilliant moment for Moussa Diaby, who has scored recently, not in the league, but he did score in that second leg 4-0 win against Ajax before the international break. But he's definitely struggled in the league. He's making his first start in 8 games. He hasn't started any of the last 7. But he's been put in today. As Conte crosses into the near post. Bailey flicks on. It's controlled by Kilman and cleared by him on the penalty spot. Back to the halfway line to Carlos. And Aston Villa will try and attack again. These 3 points at the moment do put Aston Villa 4th in the league. 3 points clear of Spurs, but Spurs do have a game in hand on Aston Villa, so still as tight as it was before the game, even with this lead that Aston Villa have got. As it's still with Aston Villa in the centre circle with Pau Torres. Just over 5 minutes left of the first half here. It's with the left back Moreno, who's been closed down by Sarabia. Just about gets it back to Torres for Aston Villa, who's now played 131 games under Unai Emery. Pau Torres is a very trusted player for Unai Emery, as he was brought to the club for £33 million from Villarreal. As Concert can't quite work a 1-2 with Tielemans, and Aït-Nouri's pulled down, and that'll be a free kick for Wolves just inside the Aston Villa half on the near side. Looked like they were settled in possession, but Concer's ball to Tielemans wasn't a great one. Left Tielemans in a crowded area, and as Tielemans tried to get it back to Concert, it was taken away by Wolves, and eventually they've won themselves a free kick here, and it gets Wolves back on the ball. As a win for Wolves would put them up to 7th place, with a game in hand on West Ham, who they would leapfrog. So it's a real opportunity today for Wolves. They're not out of the game yet. As Totti Gomez goes long out to the left wing position. Kicked backwards by Lamina here to João Gomez. Now ignoring him. We're back in the Wolves half here with Totti Gomez. Midway side zone half. Wants to switch it to the right hand side. He goes forward. I don't know who he's aiming for. I think looking in behind for Sarabia, but he never made the running behind. So it goes through to the edge of the box here to Emi Martinez for Aston Villa. For Emi Martinez, he's never picked up a win at home against Wolves. He's beat Wolves twice in his career, the goalkeeper, and they've both come at Molineux. So Emi Martinez on the ball in the 18-yard box here. As Wolves did go through a bit of a rough patch away from home in the league. They lost 4 in a row from early November to mid-December, but they've started to pick it up again with 3 wins in their last 5 on the road. And they've got 6 wins in their last 10 Premier League games. That's pretty healthy from Wolves, drawing once against Brighton and losing 3 against Newcastle, Brentford and Manchester United. As Martinez has it, goes out to the left centre-back of Torres, outside the box at the moment, goes forward to the halfway line, flicked on by Rodgers. It's now Watkins holding it up ahead of Kilman. Watkins goes backwards here to Luiz. Well kept here for Aston Villa. It's Carlos, goes to Pau Torres. Being pressed by Sarabia. Torres keeps it, drives forward with it, and plays the pass which deflects off the right boot of João Gomez, puts it in the air, and Bueno knocks Rodgers to the ground, and it drops through for Totti Gomez, and Wolves have it in their 18-yard box here with Jose Sarr. He's been closed down by Watkins, and he has to clear it away with his left foot. You can tell that wasn't very comfortable for the Wolves number 1. It's picked up by Konsa on the near side, shrugged off the ball there by Aït-Nouri. He now has it, facing his own goal. And switches it out to the right here to Semedo. Can he keep the ball in here? He can. It's well kept in there by Semedo. He plays it forward to Bueno. Inside to the left to Doyle. Then to the edge of the box back to Semedo. Dinks it forward. Can't find Chiwome. He's a little bit isolated up there. It's one back for Aston Villa on the far side with Douglas Luiz. Goes into his own half here to Torres. Being chased down by João Gomez. But Douglas Luiz will win a free kick here just inside the Wolves half on the far side. I think the goal for Aston Villa definitely indicates the swinging momentum we had in the game. Aston Villa were growing more comfortable, and they've got a goal for it. Lamina takes on Diaby and Tielemans and plays out to the right on the halfway line. It's Sarabia, forced to go backwards as he's being closed down by Moreno. It's now Nelson Semedo into João Gomez, out to the right again to Sarabia. Gomez tries to chop beyond Douglas Luiz, shoved to the ground. Free kick for Wolves. Good bit of skill there by João Gomez. They're definitely still in it here, Wolves, but they have definitely just become second favourites in the game at the moment. Doyle kills it out to the right to Semedo, just goes slightly behind him, loses balance, deflects off his left leg, and out for a Aston Villa throw midway side their own half on the far side. As Gary O'Neill lost last season in his one game against Aston Villa as Bournemouth boss, losing 3-0 here at Villa Park. And obviously drew against Aston Villa at home at Molineux earlier on this season. There's Konsa. ventures into the Wolves half and finds a pass inside to Bailey. His pass forward to Watkins on the edge, just goes behind him. Played forward by Bueno here to Aït-Nouri, who's in the central midfield area. Slips over on the ball and Louise takes it off him. He's got Rodgers to his left and he finds him. Edge of the box, Morgan Rodgers enters the 18-yard area. Louise on the overlap, can't quite find him. Deflects off Doyle. Cleared long by Wolves number 20 and headed backwards by Conser towards Martinez. And Villa will have the ball back, but that was important defending there by Tommy Doyle. He had to get in the way of that pass from Rodgers because Louise was away and in behind. Two minutes indicated of added on time here at the end of the first half, which Aston Villa currently lead. Through Moussa Diaby, an absolute rocket from the Frenchman, who did appear for France in the recent international break. It was his first appearance in a year for the French national side, as obviously he wants to try and book his place on the plane for the Euros in Germany in the summer. Just beyond the halfway line, it's Conser to bring it forward. Lemina's try to track him down from behind, but Conser will go on his own edge of the box. Conser not being closed down, and I think with his weaker left foot, I think he's tried to shoot, but it was a good 10 yards wide. That was a horrific attempt from Edric Conser, who isn't known for his goals. He's not scored this season, and he's only got the 6 for Aston Villa since joining in July 2019. And Tyrone Mings finding that quite funny. And I understand why, because it's not the best of attempts from Edric Conser, and that's probably why Wolves weren't closing him down. The closer he got to goal, the more they were probably thinking, go on, have a go with your weaker left foot, and that's why they let him, because he can't really shoot with his left foot, Edric Conser. And that was an example of it. As Sarr goes out to the Wolves left there, header won by Tielemans, throwing on halfway on this near side for Wolves, and we've just got less than 30 seconds to play in this opening first half. Doyle chests it down, plays it forward towards Aït-Nouri, cut out here by Tielemans, forward to Rodgers, now with Louise just in front of the halfway line. It's now into Diaby in the central area. Will he let fly again with his left foot? He wants to try and find a pass instead, but he takes too long to release it. Tackled by Bueno on the edge of the box, and Wolves can try and bring it away to score right before the break if possible. It's through with Bueno, who's making a run forward from centre half, looking for Chiwome, who can't quite keep it away from Pau Torres. Poked away by the Spaniard, and the referee blows for half time here. And it is a Moussa Diaby goal which puts Aston Villa ahead. It was scored 10 minutes before the break. It was just as Aston Villa were really starting to grow into the game and starting to dominate the ball a little bit more after a pretty solid opening 20 minutes from Wolves. And they had half chances here and there. But the main chance was around 15 minutes in. Aït-Nouri should have put them 1-0 up. It was a shot from 6 yards out. Emi Martinez made himself as big as possible, and it was enough to save the ball and put it over the top of the crossbar, but still should have been a goal for Aït-Nouri. And before that, Aston Villa had a goal disallowed early on. It was a Diaby pass through for Watkins, who just timed his run offside. His shot was saved, but the rebound was put in by Louise, but it didn't stand due to the offside. But as they were growing into the game, a free kick from Louise, which was pretty central. He pinged it out to the left-hand side, where Bailey put a first-time cross in along the ground. It was poked away by Doyle, but it rolled perfectly out to the edge of the box to Moussa Diaby, who ran onto the ball with some menace, wanting to get that ball in the net. Absolutely smashed it towards the top right corner. The power was just simply too enough for Jose Sarr, and it rattled the back of the net, and it gives Aston Villa a lead here as at Villa Park. After the first half, which has consisted of 47 minutes of play, Aston Villa lead. This West Midlands derby is Villa 1, Wolves 0. Pretty even game. The possession's pretty much even. Wolves having 51%, Villa having 49%. Wolves have had more shots, but they've both had 2 on target. Wolves should have gone 1-0 up for Aït-Nouri. Villa did go 1-0 up, but they had it disallowed through an offside, rightly given. He was offside. Watkins, as the original pass was played by Diaby, but it's pretty even. Definitely the second half of the first half, Aston Villa are on top and probably deserve their lead. And for Wolves, they just need to try and flip that back around. They need to try and get back on the ball more. They need to try and dominate it once again, because if the same patterns of play and the same domination for Aston Villa continue, I find it hard to see Wolves getting back in this game, because they just simply don't have the firepower up front. They've got Hwang Hee-chan out, Mateus Cunha out, and Pedro Neto out. All their 3 main attackers are out injured for Wolves at the moment, and you can see why they are struggling in the 18-yard box. to really, really test Emi Martinez. They have tested him once massively through 8 Nori, but it was a good save by Emi Martinez. But I'm going to go for half time, have a little 15-minute break, but make sure you're back for the second half here at Villa Park, as at the moment, in this West Midlands derby, is Aston Villa 1, Wolves 0 in this West Midlands derby. Hello, we're back as the second half will be getting underway very shortly here at Villa Park, as it is Aston Villa who lead this one by a goal to nil. Moussa Diaby in the 36th minute with a shot about 18 yards out, just on the edge of the box, left-footed, absolute rocket into that, well, towards the top right corner. Wasn't exactly in the top right corner. I think there might be question marks of the goalkeeper. I just think the power was just simply too much for him. Well, clearly it was, because he didn't save it. But for Wolves, they started really well. They had a good 20 minutes, but then Aston Villa, being the home side, grew into the game and started to look the better side and took the lead, which is what good teams do when they're on top and they look dangerous. They take advantage of it and they score. For Wolves, I think they've just not quite got that quality up front to do that. After the good start, they just don't have that striker to put them ahead and show something for their good start. So it's frustrating, but I definitely think they'll give this a go in the second half for sure, as there's a possibility of going up to 7th if they win. I mean, that would mean they have to come back, and that would be a tremendous comeback, but everything's possible under Gary O'Neill for Wolves. In their last game against Coventry, they conceded 2 goals in the 97th and the 100th minute, so literally anything's possible. But usually, in a game like this, obviously Leon Chuome, who's number 84 for Wolves up front, as you can see on the away team sheet, usually they would probably bring him off because he's not done a lot. He's 18, it's his first start for the club, it's just his second appearance, he's been a bit isolated up there, and usually you'd probably bring them off, but they've just got no one else to bring on in an attacking sense. You know, the attacking changes they've got Noah Lamina, brother of Mario Lamina, who's on at the moment for Wolves. It's his younger brother, he's 18. They've got Ty Barnett, a left winger, 18. Fletcher Holman, who's not even made an appearance for the club before, but he's 19. Then Nathan Fraser, who they might bring on. Nathan Fraser's just got a little bit more first team experience. Not a lot of it. Nathan Fraser's only played for Wolves 18 times, but he has scored twice in the League Cup against Blackpool and the FA Cup against Brentford. So that might be a change they make, but again, he's not proven, is he, Nathan Fraser? It's just they are just missing that Mateus Cunha or that Pedro Neto or Hwang Hee-chan, and they haven't got it. And I think definitely in the summer, I think they'll look to probably try and bring in some reinforcements, some more better squad depth more than anything here for Wolves, because that's what they're missing at the moment. The second half will be getting underway very shortly here. There's Aston Villa with these 3 points are back into the top 4 again. 3 points clear of Spurs, but Tottenham do have a game in hand. We'll have to see if there will be any changes made as well from, if that is Wolves or maybe Aston Villa. Maybe Unai Emery's not liking something he's seeing. You've got to remember these two teams do also play in midweek. Aston Villa travel to Manchester City and Wolves travel for back-to-back away games against Burnley before returning back to Molineux at the weekend to play West Ham, which won't be an easy game as they are right around them. So the players are back out for this second half, and Leon Chuome, the 18-year-old, is still on. The number 84, definitely need something more from him. Brighton-born striker, brought in from Wimbledon 2 years ago. Well, just under 2 years ago. Leon Chuome. There's Aston Villa now, returning back out of the tunnel, as Wolves are already out and ready to go. As it looks like we will get an Aston Villa change. I didn't expect this. It might be maybe injury driven. I can't imagine why Unai Emery would want to make a change, because Aston Villa were definitely the better side in the last 20 minutes or so of that first half. And it is Ollie Watkins to come off. Hopefully for Aston Villa, that is nothing serious. Ollie Watkins has featured in every game so far this season in the Premier League. He's only not played in 2 games in all competitions. And he's been brought off at half-time. He's not a bad half as well, Ollie Watkins. He's got him behind twice, hit the side netting once, had a shot saved as well. So we'll have to get some updates on that. But Watkins has been replaced at half-time and he's been substituted off for John Durant, who made his first ever Premier League start last time out, away at West Ham. He's got 2 goals so far this season. They both come at home earlier on in the campaign to Everton and Crystal Palace. He has missed a big chunk of this season as well, start of this new year. So we're back underway. It'll be Wolves kicking left to right, Aston Villa right to left, as Aston Villa have a free kick midway side the Wolves half on the far side. Nori just going across Leon Bailey, and Unai Emery returns out of the tunnel. A bit late for the start of the second half here. As it'll probably be the right foot of Douglas Luiz to cross this in, but the left foot of Bailey is also out there as well. It's very far out here and very far wide as we're a minute into the second half here. Last little discussion there between the two is it will be Luiz to touch it for Bailey, who then takes over. Bailey running towards goal, 25 yards out, clips it into the box where Carlos does flick on, but can't work it on target. And it is a goal kick for Wolves. Not a bad opportunity there for Diego Carlos, who's still searching for his first Premier League goal. Luiz played it short to Bailey, who then wasn't closed down quick enough, allowed to put the cross in. But even if the ball had gone in the back of the net, that certainly would have been disallowed for offside. Diego Carlos just finding himself in behind the Wolves' defence. Just went a little bit early with his run. So Jose Sarr from the goal kick clips it high out to the left here towards Totti Gomez, who chests it down, lifts it away from Bailey, chested down by Lamina. But Totti Gomez went down and wins a free kick. It's taken quickly by Lamina to Aït-Nouri, who has to go back to the halfway line to Totti Gomez and across to the number 23 of Max Kilman. As we've had two draws in the last 3 between these two when they have previously met this season and last. As Wolves try and put a ball in behind here towards Chiwome. Martinez off his goal line to get there first. And he rolls it into a central area for Tielemans. Midway side zone half. Goes out to the right. It's a very short pass towards Konsa. And Aït-Nouri takes over. Chance for Wolves here. Aït-Nouri into the 18-yard box tackle by Tielemans, who makes up for his error. And Tielemans brings it away on the right-hand side. Down the line it goes here. It's a beautiful ball for Bailey, who's got Totti Gomez running alongside him. He's one-on-one with him. Bailey on the edge of the box onto his left foot. He's allowed to shoot. And he doesn't quite catch it. Miles over the crossbar. And it's a quick start from both here. 3 minutes into the second half. Tielemans poorly giving away possession, but certainly made up for the error by winning the ball back off Aït-Nouri. And then a brilliant ball down the line where Bailey was shown onto his left foot there by Totti Gomez. Allowed to get the shot off, but wasn't accurate enough. Quite wild in the end. Got under the ball there. Leon Bailey is Wolves play out from the back in the left back area here with Totti Gomez. Kicks off Bailey, throwing here for Wolves. As Totti Gomez made his Portugal debut in November of last year and made his second appearance for his national team in the most recent international break at the age of 25, starting to break into the Portugal national team. As he has the ball with his feet here, down the line to João Gomez. It's now back into Totti Gomez, across to the edge of the 18-yard box to Doyle. Quickly curls it out to the right to Semedo, who's got space to run into on this near side here as he brings it into the Aston Villa half. He's a little bit isolated here, running at Moreno. Semedo plays it into the box towards Chiwome, cleared by Carlos. To the chest of Doyle, who will keep it in on this near side. Not bad running there from Semedo, but the final ball wasn't good enough towards Chiwome. But a bit of possession here for Wolves, as we're just under 5 minutes into the second half. We're in the centre circle with Kilman. Aston Villa have everyone behind the ball. As they go forward to João Gomez, picking the ball up in between the lines, and he brings it forward here. Gomez, he's not being stopped here. What a run this is. João Gomez on the edge of the box, has to be pushed to the ground, and eventually a free kick's given. Two-handed push there by Alex Moreno, and it's a real adventurous run by João Gomez, but he was rewarded for taking the risk of taking it on his own. And about 22 yards out, just to the right-hand side of the box here, it's a free kick for Wolves. It's more suited for a left footer, but João Gomez with his right foot can also hit them. Doyle is the same. But I definitely think it will more unlikely be the left foot of Pablo Sarabia to try and get this in towards goal. It's inside to the edge of the D, just to the right side, so it shows you how close this is, about 20 yards out or so. Does mean that Sarabia needs to get this up and down. Does he have the ability? I don't think there's a question of that, but can he do it in the moment in front of a packed out Villa Park to get his team back level if possible? Doyle is also fancying this as well. You can see it in his eyes that he won't mind having a pop at this one. It's a poor area to give a free kick away for Aston Villa. As the referee blows the whistle here, it'll be Sarabia. It goes over the wall and over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. Quite anticlimactic in the end there by Pablo Sarabia, who got the lift on it, but that was never ever coming down in time. And it's a bit of a waste in the end for Wolves, who have started the second half decently, despite being behind at the moment. Martinez got it on the edge of the 18-yard, on the edge of the 6-yard box, goes out to the left here to Torres on the near side. Forward towards Rodgers. It's Semedo to take it off him. Sarabia deflects it towards Chuome in the box, cleared hurriedly by Pau Torres. Played forward by Doyle. It goes behind Lamina on the edge of the box. And behind for a goal kick. Almost played through perfectly there by Tommy Doyle, who's on loan for the season from Manchester City, but they have an option to buy of £4.3 million. Obviously in the summer, Wolves lost Nunez to Manchester City, but they brought in Tommy Doyle to cover. As Villa have it on the edge of the box here with Pau Torres. It's now Moreno. Sorry about that noise. Martinez in the 18-yard box. Wolves sitting back. No pressure here on the Argentine goalkeeper, who is currently on for his 50th Premier League clean sheet. He's waited a while for it. Not had a clean sheet in the Premier League for a while. Aston Villa. Still with Martinez, who's had to come through the English leagues to eventually make his name in the Premier League. You know, he had loans at Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, Wolves, former Wolves player, Getafe in Spain, and then Reading. So he has played for this club previously before. Martinez. As we've had a stoppage here. Martinez was still on the ball. Nothing was happening, really. Wolves were just sitting back, just trying to reserve the energy. And Martinez has just been told to stop here. Not quite sure why. They're just showing pictures here of Moussa Diaby eating a banana. I don't know why we've stopped, as they do show a replay here of the Diaby goal. I want to know how hard I want to know the speed of that shot, because he's generated some power with that left boot. I think possibly, Moussa Diaby is being allowed to break his fast, as it is Ramadan at the moment. Yeah, I think that's why, as the sun sets here. So quite a nice gesture there from the referee and the two clubs to stop the game. I don't know if they've been doing that in previous games, because obviously it's been the international break, hasn't it? But it's nice to see that like I said, nothing was happening in the game at all. Aston Villa were just on the ball there in their in their own half, not much going on. So it wasn't like they stopped any flowing attacks or there was any flow in the game at all. So I believe that's why Moussa Diaby. It's crazy, isn't it, with the way we've obviously with Ramadan and not eating throughout the day. That's obviously what Moussa Diaby's not done. He's not eating throughout the day, but can still perform at such a high level. It's some mentality to have to get yourself through a game without real energy. It is impressive. As Alex Moreno on the edge of his box gives it away. Sarabia dinks it in towards Lamina, who heads it forward, but it's straight at Martinez. Lamina has stayed down though, as he was jostling and tussling. I don't know if justling's a word. Tussling with Lamina. I don't know what Alex Moreno's doing there. Luca Digne is on the bench, and Unai Emery does like a change at fullback. He has brought off Moreno before for Digne. He's just on the edge of his box, running across his goal, and eventually it's taken off him. I think maybe Consa just maybe stood on Lamina by accident as he was falling backwards. It was nothing intentional. Lamina's okay running anyway as Consa's shoved in the back there, and it's a free kick for Aston Villa. Just inside their own half here, with Ezri Konsa being brought down there by João Gomez. That's the last 5 minutes or so of this second half. Just not much has been going on, in all honesty. I like to make games sound as interesting as they are, but sometimes when not a lot's going on, there's not a lot you can do. As Carlos goes long here, down the Aston Villa right here, into the final third, into the 18-yard box, and into the hands of Jose Sarr, looking for Moussa Diaby, the current match winner, which sends Aston Villa into the top four at the moment. It's midway inside the Wolves half here with Mario Lamina, who's making his 49th Wolves appearance, closing in on half a century for the club since joining in January of 2023 from Nice. Doyle sends a high ball over the top down the Wolves right here towards Semedo. He beats Moreno to it. Plays it inside here for Sarabia. Back through for Semedo in the box. Tight angle. Needs to find the right cross as he tries to lift it in. It comes off the chest of Pau Torres. And it's a Wolves corner on the near side in front of their travelling supporters. It's an hour round trip. It's not far to go. But still, they've travelled in their numbers, the Wolves fans, and they want to see a result here tonight if possible. They're trailing at the moment. It'll be the left foot of Sarabia. As a couple of Wolves players do surround the Aston Villa goalkeeper. As again, it's gone towards the far post. Martinez has hit the deck alongside Totti Gomez, and the free kick has gone Aston Villa's way. The Villa captain ended up on the floor, and Paul Tierney's given him the free kick. Couldn't quite see what happened, but probably just pulled him down. This is only the 18th meeting between the two. in the Premier League, Aston Villa have won 5 of the previous 17, and Wolves have won the 6 with 6 draws. So it's a very close head-to-head usually between these two in the Premier League. The first fixture between these two was back in 1886, 137 years ago. The first fixture between these two was played, which shows you the history of the fixture. They have played each other 136 times now, all together in all competitions. As it's an Aston Villa throw-in inside their own half, finds Louise. Back it goes here into the defensive third for Torres. On this near side goes to Martinez, who's been closed down here by Lamina. Needs to get rid, goes back to Torres to his left. And Torres chops beyond Chouameni. And goes back across to Martinez in the 18-yard box. He's got time on the ball here now. The Aston Villa number 1. So with Carlos bringing it out from the 18-yard box and playing it out to Consa. Then through here for Bailey in the final third. Chops beyond 1 and the second and plays it through, looking for a run of Duran. The run was never made, and into the hands or into the feet of Jose Sarr it went. And he eventually picks it up and rolls it out to the left wing back of Ait Nouri. And since coming on off the bench for Ollie Watkins, John Duran hasn't had a touch of the ball yet. The 20-year-old, who, as mentioned before, made his first Premier League start last time out against West Ham. Not a touch of the ball yet, which does show you that Wolves have got themselves back in this game in terms of possession of the ball. Semedo runs at Moreno, finds Sarabia. Back to the halfway line we go here with Bueno. It's now Doyle in the centre circle. Goes out to the left here to Totti Gomez. Forward for Lamina, cut out by Louise. Tielemans forward towards Duran, cut out by Doyle in that centre circle. And it's now out to the left to Aït-Nouri with half an hour left to play. There's 3 bodies up there for Wolves as Aït-Nouri finds or tries to find Semedo. Which is a brilliant catch, pucks out of the air there by Martinez in the 6-yard box. And then rolls it out to the left wing here of Morgan Rogers, who stops himself inside his own half and goes to the right centre-back of Diego Carlos. I thought that was just too high of a cross there for Emi Martinez to catch, but he used every muscle in his body to catch that ball as Lamina's offside there. Free kick for Wolves. Free kick for Aston Villa, sorry, in a right-back area. Mario Lamina couldn't quite keep himself onside. As there is Gary O'Neill, sat next to Tim Jenkins, his assistant. On the halfway line, Tielemans surrounded by orange shirts. He tries to find Bailey, who's tackled, but the ball's last touch of a Wolves man, and that'll be a Aston Villa throwing on halfway on the far side. As it's Ezri Konsa with the ball in his hands here. Finds Bailey, returns it to Konsa, whose touch can keep it in. He goes down the line for Diaby, loses that to Aït-Nouri. He's now with Santiago Bueno for Wolves. Brings it forward into the centre circle. Lamina's onside here in a left-wing position. If they can find him, they can. He nods it into Chiwome, who can beat Carlos to it. Chiwome in the box. It's a very tight angle. He tries to pull it across, but it's blocked by Carlos and eventually into the hands of Martinez. Almost an opportunity there for the 18-year-old Leon Chiwome, who did get beyond Diego Carlos, but couldn't quite pull the ball across the box or even have a shot at goal. He's a good clip ball out to the left there by Bueno. Good header inside by Lamina. Used his body well there, Chiwome, to get away from Carlos, but as he went to pull the trigger, if that was a cross or shot, it was blocked by Carlos and eventually into the hands of Martinez. Not a bad moment there for Leon Chiwome. As we're going to get a double Villa change here. They've made one already at half-time. Watkins came off for Duran. And now we're going to see Morgan Rogers replaced. He had a good first half. The number 27 went on a few amazing runs. One of them was unbelievable. Forced a yellow card for Sarabia as he was pulled down with 2 hands, pulling his shirt. So he'll be replaced by the man who got the equaliser in their last game, and that is Nicolo Zaniolo. Currently on loan from Galatasaray with an option to buy of £19 million. But in a recent interview, Nicolo Zaniolo has expressed his desire to return back to his home country of Italy. And as I did say, mentioned it before, when Alex Moreno made an error on the edge of the box, Unai Emery isn't scared to change his fullback, and he's done just that. Alex Moreno, the Spanish left-back, off for the Frenchman of Luca Digne. Very experienced in the Premier League, Luca Digne, coming on for his 182nd appearance in the English top flight. And we're going to get a Wolves change here. Ryan Aït-Nouri, who should have put it 1-0 to Wolves in the first half, will be replaced here by Hugo Bueno. So we've got 2 Buenos now on the pitch. Hugo Bueno scored what thought was going to be the winner against Coventry. Scored in the 88th minute in that FA Cup tie. But as we know, Coventry somehow pulled it back and won the game before it could go to extra time. It was Hugo Bueno's first ever Wolves goal since joining in 2019. And he's on now for the final half an hour of this one. As it's Aston Villa in their own half, near side, Digne, forward to Zaniolo, 2 substitutes linking up. He touches it off Doyle, but it's kept in by Digne. Can't thread it through back to Zaniolo, but Doyle loses out to Duran, who finally gets his first touch of the game after coming on 20 minutes ago. Zaniolo in the central area, edge of the box, goes out to the right here to Diaby. Overlap of Consa, finds him. Consa on the byline, lifts it to the far post. Duran can finish it, he can! It deflected off the post, then off Duran. The majority of the players go to celebrate with Consa, who may have just put that in from the cross. I'm not too sure. Duran definitely made sure it went in the net. We'll have to see if Consa scored directly from his cross on a tight angle, lifting it to the far post. If he's able to curl that one in, that is very impressive from Ezri Konsa. Wolves losing it in the midfield through Tommy Doyle. Duran with a very aggressive but successful slide challenge. Zaniolo, who's just come on, found Diaby on the edge of the area, who played it through to the overlap of Konsa, who played it to the edge of the box, played it to the far post on the byline, and I think it was already in. I don't know how he's curled that in towards goal. It came off the post and in. Behind the line, Santiago Bueno took it away from the goal line, and that's when it deflected off Duran and in. But it had originally already gone over the line, and that is an Ezri Konsa goal. And Aston Villa double their lead here. It's Aston Villa 2, Wolves 0 in this West Midlands derby. Ezri Konsa forward from fullback as Duran pulls it into the area. Diaby for his second, finds Zaniolo, shoots towards goal. Big save from Jose Sarr. Down low, stops it with his left hand. Instant impact being made from Zaniolo, and he almost got himself on the score sheet. It'll be a frustrating goal for Wolves to concede that one. But Ezri Konsa using the roll of the ball to curl it off the post and in. It was definitely a cross. He wasn't going for the shot. But Ezri Konsa scores, and that's his first of the season. His first in 2 seasons. He didn't score in the entirety of the last campaign as well. So it's a long time coming for Ezri Konsa since his last goal. And although it wasn't a shot, he'll definitely take it as a goal. It's his first ever goal against Wolves. Hadn't scored his previous 10 against them. And it is now Wolves who have to do a lot more work than they already had to. The first goal came from a set piece for Aston Villa. That one came from winning the ball back in the Wolves half. Tommy Doyle tackled like a ball-winning midfielder by John Duran. I believe that slide tackle was his first touch of the game. He hadn't touched the ball before that, I don't think, since coming on at half-time for Ollie Watkins. And Aston Villa lose it on the edge of the box here. Chiwome took it off Louise, but then he's been pickpocketed by Tielemans. And Aston Villa have it on this near side here with Luca Digne. Now Zaniolo straight off the bench making an instant impact, part of that build-up for the second goal. It's midway inside the Aston Villa half here with Pau Torres. Goes across to his centre-back partner here of Diego Carlos. Back out to the left here to Pau Torres. Got Pablo Sarabia closing him down. Digne inside to Louise. Midway inside the Aston Villa half here. Louise closed down by Doyle, but shifts it through to the right centre half here of Carlos. Forward to Diaby. Just gets away from the outstretched leg of João Gomez. Diaby tackled on halfway though by João Gomez from behind. Wolves back in possession with Lamina on that far side. Finds Tommy Doyle. And out to the right it goes here to Semedo. Not got many options with him. He's got Zaniolo in front of him. Goes backwards here to Bueno. Santiago Bueno on halfway at right centre-back. He's now in the centre circle here with João Gomez. Back out to the right it goes to Sarabia. A bit of time on the ball here for the Spaniard. He drives inside into a more central area. Goes for the switch out. Headed away by Consa on the edge of the area as he was looking for Hugo Bueno. And the count was on. Bailey finds Tielemans. Slips it through for Duran, who can't take it under control. I think the ball was intended for Zaniolo, who's just behind him, but Duran wasn't to know. And he couldn't take it under control, and Wolves deal with it. So we've got just under a quarter of the game left here at Villa Park. And it is Aston Villa who lead 2-0. Just simply haven't done enough here, Wolves, in terms of their final third play. They've kept the ball at a decent pace. They've been shifting it around nicely, but Just not created enough clear-cut opportunities to really worry the Aston Villa defence. And this is probably a different game if they have the likes of Cunha fit, Neto and Hwang Hee-chan as well. Semedo in the final third receives the ball here. He's got Digne closing him down quickly and he tackles him well there, Luca Digne. And then plays it to the edge of the area here to Luiz. Back out to the left to Zaniolo. All in the Aston Villa half here. Digne returns the ball forward here. As he clips it forward, looking for Duran. Takes it under control, falls to the ground and wins a free kick for his troubles. Pulled down there by the Uruguayan Santiago Bueno, who was formerly of Barcelona. Never made an appearance for them though. The now 25-year-old centre-half. As Wolves are going to make another change here, another youngster. Tommy Doyle, who gave away the ball for the second goal, will be replaced here by another youngster, 20 years of age, brought in the summer from Ipswich, and that is Tawanda Chirewa, who was called up to the Zimbabwe national team during the international break, but withdrew. Didn't make an appearance for them. So Tommy Doyle off for Tawanda Chirewa. So a like-for-like change, both central midfielders. So just less than 20 minutes to play here. It is a free kick on halfway, just towards this near side for Aston Villa. Waiting for the referee to get this game back underway. As eventually we will play with Luiz going down the line here for Digne. Time on the ball for the former Everton fullback. Finds Zaniolo. Takes it away from Semedo in the final third here. And the free kick goes Zaniolo's way. Just being pulled back there by Semedo. Paul Tierney quick on the scene to give the free kick. So Aston Villa swarm the box with shirts of claret and blue. Again, the two usual suspects stood over it for Aston Villa. Luiz and Bailey from this left wing position. Can they get a third and really put this game out of sight for Wolves? As it is going to be the right foot of Luiz towards the near post. It's flicked on by Pau Torres. In the air it goes. Sarr comes for it and collects it on the edge of the 6-yard box. Slightly clashes with the head of Lamina, who will be okay to carry on. As the ball is dropped onto the floor here for Max Kilman, who brings it outside the 18-yard box. It's now still with Max Kilman, midway inside the Wolves half here. All Aston Villa players are behind the ball. As Kilman looks for a progressive pass if possible. Goes out to the right to Sarabia. Turns away from Digne. Semedo's making a run in behind. He looks for him and finds him in the final third. Got Zaniolo chasing him. Semedo keeps it away from the Italian for now. He plays it into Sarabia. Into Lamina, who's got Duran behind him, but he takes it away from Duran, but then tackled by Luiz, fairly according to the referee. And the ball is alive there. There's Luiz, brought down by João Gomes fairly. And then Sarabia kicks it off Digne, who then sends it through for Duran. In behind. And there's a chance here for Aston Villa on the break. Inside the 18-yard box now. Duran onto his left foot. Shoots. It's deflected away from goal. And it goes behind there for a corner kick. He's probably hit better than that, John Duran. He hit an absolute worldie against Ajax in that second leg 4-0 win. Smashed off the crossbar. He was found down the left channel by Digne. Came inside into a more central area in the box. Still just to the left. And as he shot on the angle, it was blocked away. And it's a set piece here for Aston Villa, who are going to find themselves back on winning ways in the league. after not picking up 3 points in the last two against Spurs and West Ham. As again, we're having another stoppage here. Not sure why. One of the assistant referees is being spoken to. Not sure what the issue is, in all honesty. As the assistant referee runs down the line here. And I think we've got a tech issue. Problem with his earpiece. And this will definitely be a frustration here for Wolves. And the assistant referee's taking the top off it. I'm sure he'll be getting a little bit of stick there from the Wolves fans, as he has to do it right in front of the travelling supporters, and he's having to do it right in front of a Sky Sports camera in his face. Just let the man get his stuff sorted. I don't know why they've had to put a camera in his face while he takes his top off. I mean, he does have an Under Armour piece underneath, so we're not seeing any assistant referee six packs or anything. But I don't get why they had to put a camera so close to his face. Strange. Anyway, that's why we've got a bit of a pause at the moment before this Aston Villa corner. Quite a young person sorting this technical issue out. Obviously, with VAR, it's very important that all officials can be able to communicate. As I do think this assistant referee, I think it's Steve Meredith. I think it is Steve Meredith. It's either Steve Meredith or Scott Ledger, and that doesn't look like Scott Ledger to me. Yeah, that is, Steve Meredith. Don't get me wrong, I'm not too well known on my assistant referees. I've got them written down here. It's Scott Ledger and Steve Meredith, but I didn't know exactly which was which, but I had a guess and I got it right. So Steve Meredith, the assistant referee, just getting this tech issue sorted. Again, it's just not helping. There's a young person sorting this tech issue out, and he has got a massive camera in his face, which just puts even more pressure on him. And he's already got pressure with the fact that there's a big delay to a Premier League match. I just think it's a little bit tight on the young person to have a camera in the face. I don't get why. We know what's going on. As the top goes back on, tucks the shirt in, looking all smart and professional. Flag back up, and off he goes. Back to the halfway line, as it looks like we're going to be able to get back underway here after a slight technical issue has paused the game. But that pause is going to be ended here as Aston Villa have a corner on the far side. It looks like it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Leon Bailey. As the cross goes in, it's a deeper one to the far post. It's headed up into the air there by Chiwome. Controlled by Carlos. Out of the box it goes here to the left wing to Diaby, who crosses it low and it blocks off Chiwome. And it'll be a Villa corner again, this time on the near side. Good defending there by the youngster Chiwome, the England under-18 international. So it'll be another in-swinger, but this time from the right foot of Douglas Luiz, who has scored directly from a corner before, last season in the League Cup against Bolton. As the left arm is raised there from Luiz, and the ball goes into the near post. Header won by João Gomez, and that will be a retake, pretty much, as we're going to get the exact same outcome, another corner. And it'll probably be taken again by Douglas Luiz. Strong header there by João Gomez to beat Pau Torres to it. As then it goes again near post, and it's just gone wide. I think it's deflected behind there by Santiago Bueno. Dangerous ball in there by Luiz, and who does that come off? Yeah, it comes off Carlos last. Should be a goal kick. Came off Bueno first, then off Carlos's thigh. Not knowing too much about it, the Brazilian centre-back, but They'll have a third try at this corner from the near side. The first two have gone at the near post. And Luiz puts it a bit further in this time, but it's caught by Jose Sá. He needs to try and release this quickly if he can, but there's no real opportunity on for a counter-attack. And he keeps it in his hands and rolls it out to the edge of the box here to Max Kilman. And despite not putting on a bad performance, just not been enough for Wolves to get anything from the game. Definitely missing that striker up front of quality. Obviously a lot of pressure for Chiwome up front for Wolves. So with Emi Martinez in the 6-yard box, out to the left centre half here of Torres. He's got Sarabia in front of him, lifts it over him and finds Digne, who chests it down and then plays it into the path here of Luiz. He's got Lamina trying to tackle him. Luiz is tripped by Lamina on the halfway line. And that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa, who've got less than 10 minutes to play here. And the first goal of the day for Aston... Sorry about that. The first goal of the day for Aston Villa was the 100th goal that Gary O'Neill has conceded as a head coach in the Premier League. Obviously now that's on 101, with the second goal scored by Ezri Konsa, who hasn't scored for the last season and 3/4 of this one. So a long time waiting for his goal, Konsa, but it came today. As he links up here with Bailey and has it 5 yards inside the Wolves half. Bailey, Konsa on far side, just brought to the ground there by Chirewa. And he'll be booked for standing in the way of the quick free kick. The 20-year-old into the book, Tawanda Chirewa. Just on for his third Premier League appearance. This came on previously against Brighton and Newcastle. He's yet to start, though, for the first team. As it's on this near side, halfway line, Torres. Forward it goes. It's a high ball forward. It's chested down by Digne. Deflects off Bueno here for Zaniolo, who beats Semedo to it. Zaniolo in the area, on the byline, pulls it across. It deflects up and through, and it's cleared by Hugo Bueno for Wolves, only as far as Luiz, 25 yards out. Works it to the right wing to Diaby. 1-2 with Konsa. Diaby's pass, though, deflects off João Gomez, and that'll be a free kick for Wolves as Diaby handled the ball. It was accidentally, but he stopped Gomez getting away there. As Wolves want to make a change. They're not going to make it yet, but it will be the 19-year-old of Nathan Fraser to come on, former under-19 Ireland international. As they go long here to Hugo Bueno at left wing-back, brings it down midway side the Aston Villa half on the far side. Lays it off here into João Gomez. Not got many options forward, has to go backwards here to Lamina. He goes out to the right to Santiago Bueno. He's got Sarabia in front of him. He goes for a cross instead to the far post towards Chiwaume. But it's gone beyond him and into the gloves of Emi Martinez. He is 6'1", Chiwaume. Does have the height, but that was a bit too high for him. And Villa go down the left here with Zaniolo. Keeping it away from Santiago Bueno. And going forward here towards Duran, who holds it up away from Kilman. Again goes to the floor, but Duran kept his feet for the moment and then eventually brought down. And that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa. Real battling going on there between Kilman and Duran. So it looks like Kilman will go in the book here. And Duran will go in the book because John Duran just caught Kilman as he was going down there on his head. Not sure if it was an elbow or an arm. But Kilman booked for the foul and Duran yellow carded for just his reaction to the foul from Kilman. Wow, it's going to be a triple change here for Wolves. So, on his first start for the club, Leon Chiwaume will be replaced here by Nathan Fraser. So an 18-year-old off and a 19-year-old on. Nathan Fraser, born in Wolverhampton, joined the club at the age of 7. And he's making just his 9th first-team appearance. The next change, we'll see Nelson Semedo come off. And he will be replaced by Boubacar Traoré, Wolves number 6. And the third and final change, we'll see Matt Doherty come on, and he will replace. Didn't actually show who he replaced then. I'll find out who Matt Doherty came on for. I'll try and have a look out for who's gone off. Let's just be on the halfway line. Louise, heavy touch, but he can poke it through for Digne. Then finds Zaniolo. Look for the run of Louise. Stopped by Lamina, who's then tackled from behind. It's a foul, and it's a Wolves free kick in the right back area as Doherty's over it. As Duran can't quite find Diaby on the edge of the box. Intercepted there by Traore, and he kicks it off Duran. Throwing for Wolves, midway side of the Villa half on this near side. As it looks like it's going to be another Aston Villa win. It'll be win number 41 for Unai Emery at Aston Villa. This is his 71st game in charge. As it's on the edge of the box here with Max Kilman. So the players that have come off for Wolves is Leon Chuome, Ryan Aït-Nouri, Tommy Doyle, João Gomez and Nelson Semedo. And the players that have come on have Matt Doherty, Hugo Bueno, Boubacar Traore, Tawanda Chirewa and Nathan Fraser. So Wolves have now used all 5 substitutes as they've got the ball just inside their own half here with Max Kilman. It's now Sarabia who's come towards the halfway line for the ball. Not had a lot of it in this second half. Sarabia. With Lamina on halfway. Goes across to his left here to Kilman. Bit of space on the far side for Hugo Bueno if they can find him. Kilman thought about the pass but turns away from Diaby instead and goes to Lamina. So now with Traore. Now out to Hugo Bueno in that space. In the final third. Out wide. Crosses. It's a good looking ball and the header's hit the roof of the net by Doherty. Well worked by Wolves. Finding that option out wide of Hugo Bueno, and his cross was nice. Good curling ball in with the power. Doherty got up above Digne in the 6-yard box, but couldn't direct it down underneath the crossbar. Unfortunately, the recent Wolves substitute of Matt Doherty, who scored the once this season in the league, hasn't started though since the start of February. As Aston Villa are going to make another change, the scorer of the first, Moussa Diaby, scoring his first Premier League goal since late December. He's been replaced here by Tim Irabunum for Aston Villa, making his 6th Premier League appearance of the season, all of them off the bench. And when I've seen him play, Tim Irabunum, he's definitely got something about him, for sure. As Martinez takes the goal kick, goes long out towards Duran, who heads in on towards Tielemans. Headed away, though, in by Totti Gomez instead for Wolves, but given away by Traore. But then lost by Duran, 15 yards inside the Wolves' half. It's now with Doherty on this near side. He goes backwards here to keep the ball with Kilman. It's now with Jose Sarr in the 18-yard box. Goes out of the 18-yard box with the pass to the left centre half of Totti Gomez. Forward here to Chirewa. Through the gap to Hugo Bueno, who will beat Concert to it. And the last touch comes off Concert, and that'll be a throw for Wolves, taken quickly to Lamina. Over the top it goes. Nathan Fraser will chase it. Martinez will let the ball roll into the 18-yard box, and he'll collect it ahead of the Wolves, number 63. As Emi Martinez is getting close now to that 50th Premier League clean sheet of his career. And it'll be in his 154th Premier League appearance as he kicks out of his hands. He goes long out to the Aston Villa right. Header away there by Totti Gomez beyond the halfway line again here towards Sarabia. Dealt with though by Torres. Cleared out to the Aston Villa left here towards Zaniolo, who will outmuscle Santiago Bueno, then goes over on the challenge from the Uruguayan. And that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa, with just over a minute left to play. So Villa go back into 4th 3 points clear of Spurs with a 2 better goal difference. But Spurs do have a game in hand. So 30 seconds left to play. And it's with Diego Carlos in the back line here for Aston Villa. It's now with number 14, Pau Torres, who wasn't involved for Spain in the recent international break, even though he has usually been used as one of Spain's centre-backs in recent tournaments. As Tielemans sends this ball over the top here for Bailey, who will latch onto it, and he'll be brought down by Totti Gomez outside the area. And that'll be a yellow card for Totti Gomez. He just got across his man there. Leon Bailey. And was tripped by Totti Gomez as we've had 9 minutes of added on time here. Bit unfortunate really for Totti Gomez because he slipped over himself and then fell forwards into Leon Bailey, which then tripped him over. And it'll be a free kick for Aston Villa, about 25 yards out, just to the right side of the box. So, decent little area and distance for maybe a left-footed taker to have a go at goal. It'll be a 3-man Wolves wall with Nathan Fraser, Max Kilman and Totti Gomez. Plenty of players stood around it. Bailey removes himself. Digne's over it. We know he can score free kicks. Louise is also looking at taking this on. So is Tielemans. Like I said, they've got multiple options for this one. Looks like it's going to be the right-footed Louise, who crosses it in instead, headed away by Doherty. Drops to Zaniolo on the edge of the box. His shot blocked by Traore. Finds Carlos, who goes back out to the left wing here to Zaniolo. Now Leon Bailey in the final third. Down the line to Digne. Tries to take on Doherty. Goes down here, Digne. Keeps it in, though, on the corner flag and tries to turn away from Doherty. Does it beautifully. Somehow he still got it, Digne, until he's then eventually tackled by Doherty. And he'll play it to his left here with Traore for Wolves. Towards the corner flag. Back out to the right here to Traore. To Doherty by Traore, who then switches it to the left here to Hugo Bueno. Still inside the Wolves half. Totti Gomez is getting forward here on the overlap and just about gets it to him in the Aston Villa half. Forward to Traore, whose touch runs out of play. Thrown for Aston Villa. Not the best of touches there by Twander Traore. Made his Ipswich first team debut in November 2019. So when he was into his teen years. But they've still got some difficult fixtures. Aston Villa, they've got to play City away, Arsenal away, Brighton away, Liverpool at home. It's going to be a testing time for them to try and get that Champions League spot, while struggling the Conference League as they're in the quarterfinals of that competition against Lille. As Conte miscontrols a pass from Martinez, thrown in the final third here for Wolves on the far side, as we played 2.5 minutes of the 9 added on. Santiago Bueno centrally on the ball, midway side the Aston Villa half. Not being closed down at the moment, but plays it across to the left to Kilman, and once more to Totti Gomez. Out wide now with Hugo Bueno, who's running at Edri Konsa. Tries to go on the outside if he can. Bueno does well, crosses as well to the edge of the area. Sarabia controls, but it's taken off him by Zaniolo, who played it forward to Durant, who holds it up. He's been pulled back once again, this time by Santiago Bueno. And it'll be a free kick for Aston Villa. He's done that well in moments in this second half. John Durant just holding the ball up. He is massive. He's about 6'2", Colombian. Just having a conversation there with referee Paul Tierney. I think John Duran wanted more than a yellow card there. Sorry, more than a foul. I think he wanted a yellow card there as well. Wasn't given. Torres goes long for Villa, up towards Durant, over his head and Max Kilman, and through for Jose Sarr outside the 18-yard box, who just gets rid. He boots it long, straight to the chest of Konsa, straight into Rabunum, who returns it to Konsa on halfway. He's tackled, though, by Sharewa. He goes down the line here for Nathan Fraser. In the final third, down the line in the box, Sharewa tries to take on Carlos. He goes down over the challenge, nothing given, and Konsa's then brought down by Fraser. That'll be a free kick for Wolves. So under Sharewa, Was looking for a possible penalty. Wasn't given, though. 5 minutes of added on time here as Shirewa tried to cut onto his right foot. Carlos clearly got the ball, and then he was ran into there by Shirewa. Good defending by Diego Carlos. Aston Villa's number 3. He only played one of the last 5 in the league, and that was off the bench against Spurs. He's had a bit of time out of the starting 11, Diego Carlos, but he's back in. As the free kick goes long from Martinez, flicked on by Duran. Bailey lays off for Tielemans, who goes over the top for Zaniolo. Miscontrolled by Kilman, but straight into the hands there of Sarr. And that'll be rolled. It'll be thrown out to Matt Doherty on this Wolves near side, running up towards the halfway line. Playing it off to Sarabia, who goes back here to Traore. The space out wide left here for Hugo Bueno. Great pass. Good touch as well. He's played well since coming on. Boubacar Traore in the centre of midfield for Wolves. They'd come on though at 2-0, where the game was just getting away from Wolves. But for Ezri Konsa's goal, that was his first goal since December 2021, where he scored twice against Leicester. As Wolves are in behind here, the Doherty pullback is dealt with by Torres. No flag went up there on Doherty, so it'll be a corner on the near side for Wolves. Yeah, hasn't scored for Wolves since that brace against Leicester back in December 2021. So it was a long time coming for Ezri Konsa. I don't think he meant it. It was a cross towards the byline that somehow curled in off the post. Definitely won't complain though, Ezri Konsa. He'll take it for sure. Doesn't score many. Just his 7th Aston Villa goal. As Aston Villa are going to make another change here with 3 minutes left to play. Leon Bailey will come off for Kane Kessler-Hayden, just coming on for his 2nd ever Aston Villa appearance. You might remember his first Aston Villa appearance when Aston Villa had to field a youth squad team against Liverpool in the FA Cup, where they lost 4-1. They took a 1-0 lead. Yeah, Aston Villa's under-21s had to play, and Kane Kessler-Hayden was one of them. So it's his first appearance in well over 3 years for the first team. Spent the first half of the season on loan, Kane Kessler-Hayden, at Plymouth before being recalled in January, as that resulting corner was put in there by Sarabia, and it was headed wide from 6 yards by Lamina. Frustrated with himself. Probably should have at least got that on target as a minimum. So 2 minutes here to play. Martinez from the goal kick fires out to the right beyond the halfway line, up towards Duran again, loses out to Kilman, nodded down by Fraser to Chirewa, loses out to Konsa, who can back heel it forward but can't find a Aston Villa shirt. It's now midway side the Wolves half with Captain Kilman. And for Max Kilman, this is his first ever loss against Aston Villa in the league. He has lost against them once in the League Cup back in 2019. As Sarabia on the right wing position, poked away from him there by Digne. That's a throw in just in front of the halfway line for Wolves on this near side, as Wolves will remain in 10th position. But they do have a game in hand on West Ham, who are in 7th. Who are currently just 3 points behind Wolves. 3 points ahead of Wolves, sorry. Minute left to play. Everyone bar Jose Sarr camped in the Aston Villa half here. It's with Doherty at right wing back. Back it goes to Kilman, who's going to try and go in behind for Doherty. Headed away by Digne on the edge of the box. Towards Zaniolo, who shields it away from Santiago Bueno, but loses it to Doherty. Plays it through for Fraser at the near post, who went for a thunderous shot, but ripples the side netting. Was going to take a really gifted shot there to get beyond Martinez from such a tight angle, but he's hit it nicely, Nathan Fraser, who has got 2 first-team goals for Wolves this season. None of them, though, in the Premier League. So it's going to be Aston Villa's 4th home clean sheet of the season. The previous 3 came against Everton, Manchester City and Arsenal. Now adding that is going to be this one against Wolves. As the goal kick goes up in the air. Kicked into the sky by Duran. Headed away by Kilman, controlled by Irabunum. Loses out though Louise there to Traore, and maybe one last attack for Wolves. No, they won't. Irabunum, what a slide tackle. That is on Sarabia as he was just entering the Aston Villa half. Then Louise, not tripped by Sarabia. Told to get up by the referee as we've played the 9 added on here. Doherty forward to Sarabia. Taken off him by Digne. And Aston Villa might go for a third here. Zaniolo in a central area. Running at Kilman. Tries to find Duran. But he can't quite find his teammate. But that will be that here at Villa Park. The West Midlands derby goes in the favour of Aston Villa and Unai Emery, who get themselves back into the top 4. Tottenham took that place off them just for a couple hours after their win against Luton at home. But after Aston Villa's pretty comfortable performance in the end against Wolves, they reclaim that 4th spot. 3 points clear, but Spurs have a game in hand. It's all to play for in the remaining games we have left in the Premier League. And 1 goal in each half is enough for Aston Villa in this West Midlands derby against the Wolves side, who just never really fretted the Aston Villa goal in many dangerous ways. Wolves were close, but Aston Villa had a goal disallowed in the first half. Watkins timed his run a little bit off. His shot was saved, and it was then eventually put in by Louise, but the play went back for an offside on Watkins. Wolves should have gone 1-0 up. Ryan Aït-Nouri from 6 yards out had a shot that was superbly saved by Emi Martinez. And as Aston Villa started to grow into the game, they also scored their first goal of the game. Moussa Diaby with 10 minutes left of the first 45. A free kick put out to the left wing to Leon Bailey, who put it across goal. It was poked away by Doyle straight to the edge of the area to Diaby, who first time ran onto the ball and absolutely slammed it into the top right corner. He scored his first league goal since late December. And in the second half, Aston Villa carried on looking dangerous, and a bit of a fluky goal from Ezri Konsa, who hadn't scored for Aston Villa since December 2021. He made a run from right back towards the byline, and as he crossed it to the far post, it actually curled in towards goal, off the post, and in quite a fortuitous goal for Konsa, but he won't complain. He gets his first of the season, in his first in over 2 years. For Wolves, they just lacked that striker up front. They had to play Leon Chuome, the 18-year-old making his first start for the club, hugely missing the likes of Neto, Hwang Hee-chan and Cunha, who were missing today through injury. But once they get them back, I think Wolves will definitely pick up more points, and they'll probably pick up enough points to really challenge for those European places. But for now, they have to sit slap bang in mid-table. Aston Villa go up to 4th. Wolves stay in 10th position, but they are still well within the mix for the top 7. Don't let the position of Wolves deceive you. They are not far off West Ham in 7th, just 3 points off them. But it is a win for Aston Villa in the West Midlands derby. They haven't won in this fixture since December 2020. And it is their second ever Premier League home win against Wolves. It's their first home win against them since December 2003. But I hope you did enjoy it. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Here in the West Midlands derby at Villa Park, a first half goal from Diaby and a second half goal from Konsa was enough for Aston Villa to claim the 3 points. They go back into 4th spot, and they've just got a daunting trip to the Etihad on Wednesday. But can they remain in the top 4 coming the end of the season? We'll have to find out. But for Wolves, it's a day that they'll have to forget, but they're still well within the race of European places. As here at Villa Park, it finishes Aston Villa 2, Wolves 0.